Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. My name's Lyndon and it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. In this video today, I'm gonna make a tutorial for the bunch of apps called SessionBand, and the reason that I'm doing that is that I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm a private saxophone instructor and I always use SessionBand apps to practice with and to help teach with my clients. And a lot of my clients have said to me, how do you go about setting up SessionBand, things like major scales, minor scales, 2-5-1s, how did I set up the acid test? And I get a lot of questions from YouTube as well, people coming back to me saying, how do you set this or that up in SessionBand? And what I'll often do is send an individual tutorial via WhatsApp or something, and this video I hope will cover everything. So I'm going to throw everything, you know me, super pedantic, right? I'm going to throw everything I have and teach you how to set up SessionBand apps for yourself. So hopefully this will be really useful for you and for me. And before we dive into this, I just want to say thank you to all the people that have supported this channel. Please subscribe. Just smash the, did they say that on YouTube? Smash the subscribe button. I need you to subscribe. It makes a massive difference to the channel's health and it will put it in front of more people if you subscribe, if I've got more subscribers. That's really, really helpful. And buying me coffee and PayPal is so gratefully received. Thank you so much for doing that and liking and sending positive comments. So why do I use these apps, or why do I recommend that people use these apps? The reason is it makes it fun. It makes it fun to practice your major scales and your minor scales and your chord tones, and you can create chord structures in there like 2-5-1s or 6-2-5-1s. I made the acid test there, which is, have a look at one of my videos, I'll put a link, but it's where you can practice all of your major scales one after the other. This is why. In the olden days, musicians used to practice to, and still do, used to practice to metronomes, and that was because it keeps a beat, and that's what this serves, that function. In later times, when I was first learning the saxophone, there was this fantastic guy called Jamie Aebersold, and that was the only way that you could get any live backing tracks. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if you had like a drummer and a pianist and a guitar player who never got bored, who would accompany you when you were playing your scales? Wouldn't that be nice? That's what this does for next to nothing. These apps are so incredibly cheap, and that's what it does. So this is why I practice with these apps, because it feels like a simulation of having a live band in your room. And if you connect this up to a good quality speaker, it absolutely, and these are live instruments. These are not MIDI files or some horrible computer generated thing. They are real recordings of real musicians, and they're top musicians. We'll talk about that in a moment. So it's like imagine having the world-class musicians accompany you while you're practicing your scales or arpeggios or chord tones or tunes or whatever. I mean, it's just fantastic. It just brings everything to life. That's why I would use them. So what are they? They're apps that are available on the App Store. Unfortunately, they're only available for iPhone or iPad at the moment, but as far as my understanding that they are going to be on Android in the hopefully near future. So they are an app that you get, you need an iPad or an iPhone. And then, so what they are is that they are chord-based audio loops. They're quite unique in that way, that this is the only app that you can get that is going to give you an audio loop of real instruments. So it allows you to create studio quality multi-track music to your own chords straight away, and you know, these apps are award-winning. They're absolutely fantastic. So you can create a chord for yourself that you can practice to with real instruments. And each app, so there's Jazz, SessionBand Jazz 1, 2, 3 and 4. There's 4 SessionBand apps, but actually the instructions that I'm going to give you here apply to all of the SessionBand family, and there's loads. There's a house one and there's funk ones and there's soul ones. They're absolutely fantastic, so they all give you different genres. We're going to be focusing on the jazz ones in this tutorial. So each app downloaded has thousands of individually recorded chunks of 2 bars, stereo phrases, which are then manipulated in the app. and most of them have like a piano, drums, bass, and a lead instrument like a flute, trumpet, or saxophone, all of which you can manipulate. And what I mean by that is that you can mute them or make them solo, which is unbelievably useful. It's just so fantastic. And the musicians that they've got to make these loops are the country's top musicians, people like Jeff Gascoigne and Dave O'Higgins, who's my hero. He's my absolute saxophone hero. If I could sound anything like Dave O'Higgins, I'd be absolutely over the moon, because he is incredible. So what I've got here is I've got my camera set up, and if I get rid of all of my session bands which are open and just go to session band number 1, and at the top here on the right hand side, well, this button here takes you from the kind of home screen, and on the left hand side you have all of these different genres. So this is session band 1, but as I said, they all operate in the same way. So you have ballad, 12/8, slow swing, and medium swing, and bossa nova, and shuffle, and so on and so forth. You've got all of these different genres, and then for each genre, so if I touch ballad, can you see that there's loads of preloaded tracks in here? So they've got 15 demos just in ballad, and one of those is Autumn Leaf. Now I think that they've probably struggled with copyright here to avoid copyright issues. Instead of calling it Autumn Leaves, which should be a copyright issue, they've called it Autumn Leaf. And then they've got a basic major blues, which I used the other day on one of my tutorials, a minor blues, Blue in Green, Miles Davis, Body and Soil. Really, I don't know who's in charge of their humour department there, but Body and Soul, Georgia, and so on and so forth. So they've got all of these, look, Sentimental Mood, My Funny Valentine. So they've got all of these preloaded, and they've got that on each one. So on Slow Swing, they've got another 21 different demos, and you can select any one of those. So if I selected Autumn Leaves, for example, and here you've got a chord chart for Autumn Leaves, so you've got a backing track. And if I go into this button here, which this is the mixer screen, then you can see that all of the instruments that have gone into making this track. So you've got drums, bass, piano, tenor sax, and a metronome. And at the top, you've got M and S, and that stands for mute or solo. So if I get out of here, I'm going to touch that button again. And if I go and press play at the moment, let's have a listen. So this is Autumn Leaves. Now if I want to get rid of that tenor sound, I'm going to touch this button here, the mixer screen button, brings up the mixer screen, and I'm going to mute off the tenor sax, and now I can practice playing these chords for myself with my saxophone, and that's going to sound absolutely lovely. That's really, really, really nice. And if I go into this edit screen here, I'm going to take you through all of this. Can you see that you've got this here, it says E flat, and if I touch that again, that will go into C, and then it transposes this into concert pitch, and if I touch it again, it will do it for B flat, which will transpose it for tenor saxophone, and the sound will be the same, but the chords will be different, which is super cool. So how do I go about creating something myself? So if I want to get out of here, I'm going to go to the home screen again, and if I select, just say, let's say ballad, and I'm going to go create new, and a little box is going to pop up that says, do you want to create a new track? And I'm going to go yes, and by default this is going to come to D major. Now I'm going to have it in B flat for tenor saxophones, so that is my D major for tenor sax. And if I wanted to, I could go into the mixer screen and mute off the tenor saxophone. I've got a green, can you see this 1, 2, 3, 4? If I touch that, that will give me 4 clicks before I come in, so it gives me a bit of an intro. So if I press this, 2, 3, 4. Now I can practice my D major scale, so however I want to. So da do dee da. also jam to that. I can practice my chord tones, I can do my scale descending. It's a fantastic resource because I've now got a beautiful drums, bass and piano to accompany me when I'm playing my scale, which is fabulous. And supposing I wanted to save that, so what I would do is I would go into this box here, which is an action menu box, and I could go save, and I could save my track. So I go up here, track author, well, Lyndon, and there it is, and track title, D major, and I go save. Now, if I ever want to find that again, all I do is go into this action box here and go open, and I've got hundreds of tracks that I've saved, but it would be D major Lyndon. There you are, there it is, and if I touch on that, it will open it up for me. And there it is. So it's always there anytime I want to go back to it. Now imagine that if I say, okay, well look, I've been practicing my D major scale for 14 hours now and I need to change key, then all I need to do is to go into this edit key down the bottom here, and can you see these triangles? If I touch one of these, can you see that it's changed it now into E flat major or E major, and if I touch it again it will go to F. Then if I get out of there and scroll back and hit play, and now it will play in F major for me, which is absolutely fantastic. And if I wanted to, I could save that file, and if I just change the name of it to F major, and if I call this Lyndon YouTube, and then go save, and now if I go back into my action box here and go open, and it will be under F because they come automatically, and it should be called F major. Yes, so sorry, I've scrolled past it. F major Lyndon YouTube, there it is. Yeah, can you see that? F major Lyndon YouTube. If I touch that and go yes, and it will open it up for me. How fantastic is that? I'll tell you how fantastic that is. Super fantastic. It's just incredibly useful. So now I can practice my major scale in any key with this beautiful backing track. But it doesn't end there, because if I go back up into this home button here, if I touch one of these other genres and touch bossa nova and go apply style, now that will play it in this new genre bossa nova. Have a listen. Wow, that is absolutely fantastic. And with all of the different apps, they've all got like 15 or 20 different genres on them. So that, can you imagine how many genres? And this would work with any of the apps. So yeah, I can change it into any of these genres. Let's do another one. So I'm going to go into medium swing. I'm going to go slow swing 4-fill and go apply style. And now it will play it in a swing style, which is really great. Absolutely fantastic. So what about if I wanted to practice my minor scales? Really straightforward to do. It's just a knack, right? So what I need to do is I need to press this pencil at the bottom, which is the edit key, and I need to touch this red box. And I know that I'm ready to edit it when you see this grey square, this grey X with a circle around it in the top left-hand corner. And can you see this wheel here? That it's got different types of chord, and at the moment it was, before I started fiddling around with it, on major 7. Now if I drag that down to minor 7 with a 9 in the brackets, and I get out of there, now that will be my minor scale, F minor. Wow, and I can do exactly the same thing in terms of changing key. I just go into this edit key and I can scroll up or down and change that into G minor or whichever minor scale I want to practice. And that, my friends, is a fabulous, fabulous resource. I don't know how much these are recently on the App Store. They're not very much. They're a few pounds, like £5 or £6 each, and sometimes they go on sale and you can get a bundle of them. I'm not working for SessionBand. I'm doing this because I love the app and I think they're a fabulous resource. So how about if I want to make a 2-5-1 chord sequence to practice over. If I go to this home button at the top here and choose a genre and go create new and create new track. Now, if ever I'm going to create something, I'm going to go down here first and make sure this is the edit button, by the way. Make sure that I'm in the key of C, because otherwise, if I'm not in the key of C, it will transpose for me as it goes, and that can fry my brain a little bit. It will, whenever I hit a key, it will transpose it. So if I put it into the key of C, that would be the first thing that I would do. Then if I touch this bar, can you see that I get a little cross at the top here, and that tells me that this block is now ready to edit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it down like this, just to make it 1 bar. So this is 1 bar long. Now I'm going to make a 2-5-1 in the key of C major. So I'm going to touch this and I'm going to change that to -7, and I want to change the pitch to D. So I've gone the wrong way. There it is, right? So D -7. Now, if I want to add another chord, all I have to do is to touch the end here with my finger, and can you see that blue line pops up? And now I'm going to add my G7, which would be the second chord that I need for a 2-5-1. So I'm going to touch this here, and that will by default make a G-7. I need to first of all shrink that down with my finger and then change the type of chord. And there's lots of different dominant sevenths here, and they get more complex as they go. But can you see that says 7? That's absolutely the perfect one for me. Then I touch this at the end here, and I'm going to go to C major. And again, that's not exactly the chord that I want, so I'm just going to go to the first type of major. And now that's everything that I need. So I'm going to check my work, D minor to G7 to C major, and if I want to make this into a loop, can you see this grey triangle? If I touch up here, there's a grey triangle, and that will mean that that loops. Now I could loop anywhere. I could make that grey triangle go anywhere. I could make it go here and here. Now if I play that now, it will only play the G7 loop, which is great if I want to practice a specific chord. Right, so they've got a saxophone player on there, and what I'm going to do is go into the edit button. I'm going to go to the tenor sax. I'm going to press M for mute. I'm going to change these loops markers, and now that's from the bottom to the top. Here we go. Really, really, really cool. Now I can practice my head off practicing my 2-5-1s, which is super, super useful. That's incredibly useful and so much more fun. I think that would be virtually impossible to do without some sort of backing track. It wouldn't have the same context. If I go into here, I can change the key of this. So if I don't want to practice it in C anymore, I want to practice it in D, and it changes all of the chords for me. And remember that if I want to practice this on my tenor sax, I'm going to press that button for B flat. That would mean now I've got a 2-5-1 in the key of E, but I can change it to whatever key that I want. So I've changed it to a 2-5-1 in D for my tenor sax. If I'm on the alto and I want to practice it in C, I put this into E flat and scroll down until I get a C major there. Absolutely fantastic. And just like we did before, I can go into here, I can save my work, type in track author, track title, and then it's there whenever I want it. I never have to create this again. Another thing that you can do is to create a 1-bar or 2-bar count-in or no count-in at all. I really like having a 1-bar count-in, and it's here, this 1, 2, 3 button. If I touch that, that will give me now 2 bars count-in. Look, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, then fantastic, absolutely brilliant. I like it on green. If I have it on green, then it just gives me 1 bar, 2, 3, and in. Brilliant. You've got a tempo adjustment here. If you touch this, and you scroll up or down, it will change the tempo. Let's try that. If I touch that again, it will come out. Now it will be at a different tempo. Yeah, that's it. So that gives me the tempo, and if I want to change it back, just go reset and it will take it back to normal. There's a small amount of distortion on there, but it's not too bad if you change the tempo, but that's because these are real instruments. Absolutely fantastic. Now, supposing I wanted to share this fantastic 251 backing track resource with somebody, I can do that as well, which is really, really cool. So I'm going to turn off the loop marker at the end here, and I'm going to go to record, and I'm going to press play. Now that is going to record whatever's on there. So it's recording the 2, 5, 1, and this is just an example. Right, so that has now recorded, and it comes up, save your recording, so I'm going to call it YouTube, and the track title YouTube test 251. There you go, what a brilliant name. And I'm going to go save, and then it says would I like to share my recording, and I can do that in a bunch of ways. If I press other, and then that will give me the option to save this as a file, save it to files, and that will save it as a file on my iPad. How cool is that? And it's got the name YouTube test down at the bottom, and I go save, and now that has saved that to my iPad, and then I can share that in other ways. So I can also share this with another iPad in a way that just gives that iPad the instructions to build this by itself. So if I could send this to your iPad, and your iPad would download this, and the way that I would do that is, first of all, I need to save it. So I'm going to save it as a YouTube, and track title is 251 test, and I'm going to go save. Now I'm going to go into here, I'm going to go share and export, and I'm going to look for YouTube test 251. That's the one that I've just created. I'm going to touch that. How do you want to send it? By email. And now I can send that to myself, lyndonblades@saxonhoney.com, and this email will actually tell the recipient to create that track. It will tell the computer to create that track. How cool is that? So you can share, if you create something, or if I've created something, I can share that with you. I can send you an email for it. It's absolutely brilliant. Really, really, really brilliant. Now that file will only, if that's come from SessionBand 1, it will only open in a SessionBand 1. Unfortunately, they're not cross-compatible, so I can't make a track in SessionBand 1 and send it to an iPad that's got SessionBand 2. It doesn't work like that. It will only work from SessionBand 1 to another iPad that's got SessionBand 1 or iPhone that's got SessionBand 1 in it. Now there is a website, I'm going to put a link in the description below, which is SessionBand, the SessionBand website, and there is also some help here. So if you go into the app and you go more, and you go online help and the website and contact us, and everything is there that you might need if you need extra help or support. As far as I know, they're very, very, very friendly people, and they're very happy to help you with your questions or setting things up. One last thing, when we've got our website up and running, the free sax lessons website, which I am unbelievably excited about. I haven't talked too much about it, but it is going to be in the next few weeks, and at the moment we're just at the end of July 2024. So in the next few weeks we're going to go live with our website, and we're going to have some SessionBand tracks that you can download there onto your app, so things like 251s, major scales, minor scales. Right, I hope that's been useful for you. I hope that covers all of the questions about SessionBand. By the way, if you have subscribed to my channel, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that, and we really do thank you, all the people that send us positive comments. Thank you so much for doing that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.